In 1885, New York Harbor gleamed with promise. Steamships carried thousands weekly past the low islands where old forts crumbled into the tide. The water reflected a city reaching skyward, its buildings climbing higher each year. Merchants counted profits, while immigrants counted hopes, all passing through the same narrow channel between Staten Island and Brooklyn. Then a massive wooden crate arrived from France, containing pieces of something extraordinary. Inside lay the dismantled sections of a 151-foot copper woman, a gift from the French people to America. She was magnificent, revolutionary, and completely homeless. The statue had crossed an ocean, survived political storms, and captured the world's imagination. Yet she sat in pieces on Bedloe's Island because Americans couldn't agree on one simple thing: who would pay for her foundation? The story begins in 1865 at a dinner party near Paris. Edouard de Laboulaye, a prominent French intellectual and ardent admirer of American democracy, proposed a monument to liberty that France might give to the United States. The timing was significant. France struggled under Napoleon III's authoritarian rule, while America mourned Lincoln's assassination. For Laboulaye and his circle of Republican friends, America represented a democratic ideal that France itself had yet to fully achieve. Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, an ambitious young sculptor with a passion for monumental works, seized upon the idea. His early sketches reveal an obsession with colossal figures that would command attention and inspire awe. But the statue wasn't merely artistic expression, it carried political weight. This gift would remind both nations of their revolutionary heritage and Republican values. America in the 1870s was hardly the United Republic of French imagination. The Civil War had ended, but Reconstruction revealed deep national wounds. New York Harbor had become the gateway to a country experiencing massive industrial expansion alongside troubling social divisions. Waves of immigrants arrived daily, changing the face of American cities. The country projected confidence while wrestling with its identity. In 1871, Bartholdi embarked on a journey to America to sell his vision. He met influential figures, including President Ulysses S. Grant, and carefully scouted potential locations. Bedloe's Island captured his imagination, a former military fort where a symbol of peace and freedom would now stand. The island's position ensured the statue would greet every vessel entering the harbor, becoming America's first impression to the world. American enthusiasm seemed strong. The American Committee formed to oversee the project, but a critical misunderstanding emerged. Americans assumed France would pay for everything, while the French expected Americans to provide the pedestal. This fundamental disagreement would nearly doom the entire project. Meanwhile, in France, the statue's construction represented an engineering marvel. Gustave Eiffel, who would later build his famous tower, designed an ingenious internal framework of iron and steel. This skeleton would support the statue's copper skin while allowing for thermal expansion. Eugène Viollet-le-Duc developed techniques for hammering copper sheets into shape, creating a skin just 3/32 of an inch thick. In Parisian workshops, artisans, many themselves struggling working-class Republicans, hammered each copper panel by hand. These workers, often overlooked in the statue's story, created a monument to liberty while lacking many freedoms themselves. Their labor embodied the complicated relationship between democratic ideals and working-class reality. The French public rallied behind fundraising campaigns. Concerts, lotteries, and public subscriptions raised the needed funds, despite criticism from those questioning why France would spend money on America while French workers suffered. By 1884, the statue stood completed in Paris, temporarily assembled to ensure all pieces fit perfectly before disassembly for shipping. But across the Atlantic, Americans responded with apathy to fundraising efforts. Newspapers questioned why America should accept charity from France. Some saw the gift as unwelcome foreign interference. Others simply couldn't understand spending money on a statue when there were practical needs to address. The American Committee struggled to raise the $300,000 needed for the pedestal, roughly $8 million in today's currency. By 1885, the statue had arrived in New York Harbor in 214 crates, but construction on the pedestal had stalled. Liberty sat in pieces, homeless on her own island. The American Committee had exhausted its funds after completing only the foundation. Newspaper editorials mocked the French folly, while politicians debated whether to accept the gift at all. The statue's plight revealed America's class divisions. Wealthy New Yorkers showed little interest in funding the project, while working-class citizens lacked the means to contribute substantially. The government refused to provide public funds, insisting private donations should cover the cost. The impasse seemed insurmountable. Enter Joseph Pulitzer, the Hungarian-born publisher of the New York World. Recognizing both a noble cause and a circulation opportunity, Pulitzer launched a campaign to shame Americans, particularly the wealthy, into action. "The millionaires have not come forward," he wrote. "It is not a gift from the millionaires of France to the millionaires of America, but a gift from the whole people of France to the whole people of America." Pulitzer's masterstroke was publishing the name of every donor, regardless of amount. Working-class Americans responded with nickels and dimes. Children sent pennies from piggy banks. A group of paperboys donated $1.35. One young girl wrote that she gave her last 5 cents because I am for the statue being built. Through these small donations, Pulitzer raised over $100,000 in just 5 months, enough to complete the pedestal. His campaign revealed the statue's democratic potential, transforming it from an elite diplomatic exchange to a monument funded by ordinary citizens. As the pedestal finally rose on Bedloe's Island, construction workers, mostly Irish and Italian immigrants, faced dangerous conditions assembling the massive structure. Richard Morris Hunt's design balanced American and classical elements with a granite pedestal rising 89 feet from the ground. The statue itself would stand 151 feet tall atop this foundation. Assembly of the statue presented enormous technical challenges. Workers erected Eiffel's iron framework piece by piece, then attached the copper skin panels from the inside. The statue's right arm with its torch had been on display in Philadelphia and Madison Square Park to raise awareness, but now it would finally join the complete figure. On October 28, 1886, President Grover Cleveland presided over the dedication ceremony. Though he had previously vetoed a congressional appropriation for the pedestal, he now praised the monument as a symbol of friendship between the republics. The massive parade through New York celebrated the completed monument, though notably absent from official ceremonies were women and African Americans, two groups still denied full liberty in American society. The statue immediately transformed the experience of arriving in New York Harbor. For new immigrants especially, that first glimpse of liberty became a defining moment. Though the reality of American life often fell short of the ideals she represented, the harbor itself changed dramatically in the following decades as immigration increased exponentially. Interestingly, the statue's meaning evolved beyond its creator's intentions. Suffragettes invoked liberty's female form in demanding voting rights. Labor organizers pointed to her as a symbol of workers' freedom. These interpretations would have surprised Bartholdi and Laboulaye, who envisioned her primarily as a celebration of established American liberty rather than a call for expanded rights. Perhaps the most profound transformation came through Emma Lazarus's sonnet, "The New Colossus," written to help raise funds for the pedestal. Though not widely known at the dedication, her poem, with its famous lines welcoming the world's tired, poor, huddled masses yearning to breathe free, would eventually redefine the statue's purpose. By the early 20th century, liberty had shifted from celebrating American democracy to welcoming the oppressed, a subtle but crucial change reflecting America's evolving self-image. The statue's maintenance proved costly, requiring constant attention in the harsh harbor environment. Her copper skin developed its distinctive green patina through oxidation, while salt air and pollution threatened her structural integrity. The responsibility for preserving this symbol fell entirely to America, a perpetual cost of accepting the French gift. The pedestal crisis revealed much about American attitudes toward foreign influence and national symbols. It demonstrated the power of grassroots action when elites failed to lead. It highlighted the role of immigrant labor in building America's most recognizable icon. And it exposed the gap between symbolic liberty and lived reality for many Americans. Today, the statue raises questions more relevant than ever. In an era of restricted immigration, what does Lady Liberty truly represent? How do national symbols evolve beyond their creators' intentions? What responsibilities come with accepting gifts between nations? And has America lived up to the promise the statue represents? The Statue of Liberty stands as a testament to how symbols transcend origins, how gifts become legacies, and how liberty's meaning evolves with each generation. Through funding crises, political battles, and cultural transformation, she endured not as the monument her creators intended, but as something far more complex, a mirror reflecting America's ongoing struggle to define itself and its place in the world.